Now, the first series of the day, we'll say feel free, take it away.
Thank you very much, Veli. Yes, it does feel like they keep kind of shoehorning us in for these European games, but we're always happy to cast them down, and of course that means we can't possibly be biased. So technically it is London versus Toronto, a Canadian team, but with European players. Coming into this one, the questions I think mostly are going to be about London. What happens when Gizmo returns?
Yeah, that is the question. Look how good they looked at the beginning of the season, as Nameless was just saying. But we didn't see much of that in the tail end of Gizmo's short stint at the beginning of the season on the London Royal Ravens. Harry came in, not much improved. Gizmo is now back, though, and I just wonder, is the pressure on him to help this Ravens team get back to where they were? It was so exciting. Every single game you'd watch them, they would never rotate, but they would somehow win, and it was crazy when it come down to hardpoint. Their respawn was flawless. Their search and destroy needs work, and, well, did back then as well. But they're up against a reinvigorated Toronto team who just about got that win last night. A win they were expected to get, but can they get another win they are probably expected to get here?
Well, let's see. The story's all about this man. Does he somehow provide some sort of resurgence for the Ravens? To be traded out there from his first kill as well, as in comes Bance with a two-piece. First control will go over to Ultra, as now they're trying to lock this one down, but Nero going to move through and just take down CleanX, and looking to try and move these spawns for his team's favor.
Yeah, just having a look at the stat that came up on the side of your screens at the beginning of this one. Ultra 4 games in a row. Winning spree when it does come down to Tuscan hardpoint, second on the hold percentage as well. So when they do get these hills locked in, they are very hard to break, but they're going up against a team who are very good at breaking, so it should make things very, very interesting. I think a lot of the story is going to be around Gizmo for this squad, isn't it? The London Royal Ravens really came out the gates and surprised so many people at the beginning of the season. It'll be a surprise win to kick it off here against Ultra. Good gunfight went up against Insight, though. Final couple of seconds will go over towards London, but Ultra, with that good hold percentage, are here already on towards P2.
Oh, this is the big fight already. Cammy shutting down P5. That takes away one of the angles that London can push this. You can see they're waiting for it. London going for this stack. They are going to try and hit this in some sort of force, but Nasty goes in by himself. Bance is alone. It doesn't matter. CleanX wins his next gunfight as well. And this hasn't really worked out for London. London take another chow, and a third coming through. Bance is not even going to get that one. His teammate will clear it up inside towards the back as well here. London have struggled so far to get anywhere near P2.
I thought that was Inside snapping, but it was CleanX helping him along. Yeah, London just really uncoordinated there, it felt. Two pushed at once, and then the other two just kind of standing still inside of radio. Of course, you would like your teammates to find a gunfight, and that might have released them, but from there, Ultra have kind of had their way with London so far. Zero will get in there, and that will be the scrap time going over towards the side of the London Royal Ravens. So the deficit is not too bad, but once again, it's a rotational win for the Toronto Ultra. 7-2 out of Cammy. We're starting to see a little bit more form out of him in the tail end of the season. Long may it continue for the Scotsman. Bance and Co locking down maps momentarily. Afro will find two, though. London may well have a break here.
The problem is Afro's actually tying up Cammy. Cammy cannot go and help out his teammates because those kills are flooding in towards the other side. Well, I say they're flooding in. London are trying to find a hole, but it's only going to be Zero with a two-piece, and three for Zero. Finds it eventually.
Oh my God!
Trey on a 5 streak now, and that has switched it around for London. And they have managed to crack through this all off the back of one man. That's 6 now for Zero. Holding it down when they need him the most. Insight coming to the gunfight as well as Zero keeps going. Looking for maybe one more. Eventually will go down, but glide bomb in the pocket and a heroic play from Zero.
My goodness me, he could not be stopped there. That was ridiculous. It was changed to auto, changed to MP40. Everybody getting gunned. And that's the kind of player we need to see out of Zero. We've seen a lot of it at the beginning of the season, but an 11-3 to kick things off. That was ludicrous. I mean, we talk about players single-handedly breaking hills. That is as single-handed as you could possibly want. 4 kills all in a row. They kind of all ran into him, but Zero gets the work done. That puts Ravens in touching distance. This rotation is kind of a bit of a 50-50. And is Ravens with purchase inside of Church. Ultra do have the more beneficial spawns, but maybe that's the SMGs for the London Royal Ravens starting to heat up just that little bit.
At the moment, Bad's trying to just clear this one out a little bit. You saw the Ravens come screaming back into this game. Bad's actually going to push this completely out as much as he can. They'll probably be looking for him. They are going to be doing that as well. Nasty knows exactly what he was up to. This is a game of chess between these two teams. London now looking to put the squeeze onto Church. Nasty's trying to go through the front, but nobody there to hit his trade either. Insight is eventually going to go down to Gizmo, and the pinch comes through, and it works out for the Ravens. Scrap time will go in their favor, and it's off to P5.
Has to be a miscommunication from the side of Ultra there. Absolutely nobody watching back Church. They've wrapped round along out it. London Royal Ravens have got an easy enough pinch, and we head over towards P5. They've got plenty of purchase over here as well. CleanX trying his best. Didn't have the best of series yesterday. I think it was what, like a -26 overall KD. That's not something you couldn't expect from him. So far, so decent on this map, but Ravens are inside. Afro in amongst the point. Good gunfight win up against CleanX, and the rest of the team there for the trades. Just about. London half in control here, Brycey, but Toronto's still very much there.
They're just trying to hold on here at the moment. The Ravens taking the lead, and not the cleanest of positions here for Ultra. They're going to try and contest for as long as possible. If they can win enough gunfights going through, and Bounce eventually will do, but takes someone in the face from inside. 23 seconds left to go. The Ravens will at least attempt to push this at some point, and Zero's going to come straight through, win the gunfight. Cammy here to find two as well on the rotation, but they are going to lose the scrap time on the other side of the map. And that will put the Ravens in the lead, but Ultra in control of the next hill.
London looking to just clear out for that final 5 seconds. There's two of you inside the point. Get somebody going. Afro is released. Look at the slow push that's coming in here. I think Afro's trying to play the game in the middle of the map to make Ultra think there was only one over that side. He's the one looking to try and find a break here because Ultra are dug in deep. Good gunfight win from Gizmo, and well, there you go. That streak that came through from Zero over towards P3 pays dividends as that glide bomb finds its way through. Insight will find two. The only one remaining here for Ultra. It's a nice break from the Ravens, who should take a lead off the back of that. Zero's having a game at 18-8. Ravens
Big
into
game
the
from
lead.
the Ravens. I'll tell you something, Ton. Let's find out how they are feeling. It's a listening with the London Royal Ravens.
Literally, come dead. Stay down.
I'm going to
Yeah, there's no joke here, weak.
Trying it.
Yeah, you can win.
Guys, good shit, boys.
Have maps, okay?
I spawned on the left. I'm wrapping.
You made open, Trey.
No, dead.
That's what I'm saying. There's a coming weak, Trey. He's on the ground.
Oh, he's got me. I've got you mid. I can't see him.
Listen, I have maps. Fanny to the left.
I'll get time in there.
Out to me. Go on.
Melt over you, Marcus. Do it.
Two in all.
Get the back.
I hear you.
I'm sat comms. Watch the top comms. Watch me.
No,
I'm watching ramp. Have you got comms? Yeah, I've got comms. I'm watching my ramp. Two comms. Cammy someone else. Come. Come here. I can't see Plat. I can't see Plat. Help me, Plat.
And then you push.
I'm staying close. Hold on. Help me, Plat. Help me, Plat.
I'm coming.
Stay alive, guys. One more ramp for me.
I get the back up, okay?
Push me on one shot. Run.
Comes.
I've been chucking nade. One more.
Hold your
He's jumping turrets. I think he's jumping
Holding your plat.
Stay alive.
I have your plat.
Push your plat. I'm in need.
Plat there.
Time.
I'm going left. It's one in mid. I'm going through left.
Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna see the top church.
I'm holding back left there.
Listen, could be back match. Could be back match.
Yeah, I'll check it. Yeah, back match. Oh shit, man, you fucking bot, man.
Shit. One's medallion.
Nader back left.
Full flash medallion, okay?
Hey.
Church, Cammy.
London Royal Ravens spitting fire, spitting comms. They have taken the lead in this game with huge holds on P1 and P2, and they have just broken P3 as well. Ultra are not hanging this game at all, and highlight reel Zero has come to play.
Oh my god, I mean, he's absolutely going insane. You heard Gizmo getting excited over towards the back end of those comms as well. But this break percentage for London Royal Ravens is something we talked about so many times towards the beginning of the season. And we're seeing examples of it here. So many times they seem to be finding a route through against a team who are so good at holding on this map. This moment in time, though, looks like Ultra will find a breakthrough, but Royal Ravens over the last 3 hills have been absolutely ridiculous. 200 points have been broken. They're just about holding on to some sort of control over towards P3, but it was Ultra the first ones here, and it's a minimal amount of points they're going to come away with. That's a win for the Ravens as we head over towards P4.
Yeah, if Ultra want back in this game, they're going to need some big holds of their own. Unfortunately, at the moment, it hasn't really been going their way. They will have church control for this initial here. CleanX is going to be pushed straight out, looking for this player. He thinks he's coming across, and timing is not going to work out for him. Afro wins that gunfight. Zero wins another one towards mid-map, and Ultra, they have this point, but they do not have the bodies. London Royal Ravens are swarming, but Inside gets two towards the back. Nasty gets one in the middle, and Cammy gets two himself. Ultra hold, and I don't know how.
Huge plays from Insight is how. Fantastic from him on the outside. I would say, you know, Cammys are a little bit easier inside the church. He's got a little bit of help. Insight has none. The grenades come over. They need to get rid of them. So much invested from the London Royal Ravens just to get rid of Jamie Craven on the outside. CleanX now over towards the back. trying to lock this down as best as he can. It's getting a little bit scrappy inside the point, but London have had very little to speak of here over towards Church. 30 points is now the lead. They've still got a solid one, but heading over towards P5, they're going to get absolutely nothing over towards Church. Can they lock down maps? Yeah, they do have Afro here, first and foremost, with the Ultra. All right alongside of it.
Well, that's a CleanX break if I've ever seen one. Just flies into the pill by himself. And now it's a little bit of reversal. Last time, it'll be Ultra trying to push through here. You can already see Cammy trying to get a little bit of an angle for them at the same time. This is all about contesting and getting bodies in towards it, but it's not going to be enough. Ultra cannot get through. That is a full wipe. And now they have to sprint ton. They have to go the entire distance to try to get this one. Afro's pushing out as well. This might be done and dusted here.
Just pushing out the cuts here from the London Royal Ravens, and it's absolutely fine for Ultra. If there wasn't this scoreline, London Royal Ravens about 14 away, 5 in a row from Afro. Ultra spawning out. Ravens in a fantastic spot to even rotate if they need to, but there's still 20 seconds remaining. This should be the closeout.
Oh, basically, Ultra just have to go. It's full sprint all the time, and Cammy gets one, but it's not enough. There's too many Ravens on the board, and that'll be the London Royal Ravens taking it away from Toronto Ultra. A huge surge in the middle of that map gave them back-to-back hard points, and it made the difference. Ultra could not recover.
We were discussing this map set at the beginning of the show. We were talking about it in between ourselves. We were looking at some of these maps, and we were wondering, Ravens, we're not too sure on a couple of these hard points. Yeah, the Search and Destroy is always going to be difficult. Ultra on a 4-game win streak on Tuscan. They're on a 6-game win streak on Berlin. There's the first hard point gone. That win streak has been ended by a 33-15 performance from Zero. 27 non-traded kills on an auto player. That is something else. Out of Trey Zero Morris, my goodness. 3,500 damage put down. And amongst it, a lot of objective kills as well. This is what makes the difference. That moment where he broke that P3 seemed to be the resurgence for the Ravens. It was mostly Ultra all the way through up until that point. And Zero, one of the best individual players I've seen this year. That was insane from him. We'll have to see his POV for the most of it, because that was pretty crazy out of the Ravens in a map that I just didn't expect them to win. I thought they maybe had a chance, but they were roaring through the middle of that map there. I think it was 3 hills in a row. I don't think Ultra got a sniff.
Yeah, and truth being told, that was probably the difference on this map, because it was even a little bit of a comeback from Ultra. They started to get some holds down themselves, but they put themselves so far behind, they just had to try and get into P5, and that's when London Royal Ravens just locked the door and threw away the key. And yeah, big game out of the Ravens. We've been talking a lot about these teams recently, and finding points anywhere coming forward is going to be super crucial. We haven't really been talking about that for Ultra. The truth is, Ultra are still in that bubble. They are still not safe for champs at the end of the year.
And I think that conversation hasn't been had because of how good their performance was at Major 3. I might not have been there, Brycey, but I was very well aware of how they played a phenomenal event out of themselves. And it felt like we were getting to see the Ultra we expected to see, the Ultra that we've seen on Cold War. But it's been a shaky start to the qualifiers for Stage 4, it has to be said. Yesterday, a game going the distance against LAG, one you would expect them to be able to deal with quite handily. And now heading into a series against London Royal Ravens, they find themselves behind after a map. Heading on to the Desert Siege, where Ravens actually don't look too bad, it has to be said. This could get very, very scary very, very quickly for Ultra if they don't step it up.
Yeah, certainly could. I think Zero just really doesn't want to lose to Bans. It's just an ongoing feud between those two, even though they're good friends. Obviously, the record throughout their entire career heavily towards Zero, and he is feeling himself today. Smiles from the London camp. Ultra will need to regain. Fortunately, I think they're probably one of the coolest teams in the entire league, with the fact that we've seen them beat in map 1 many, many times, and it doesn't really seem to matter for them.
No, it doesn't. I mean, yesterday nobody would have I don't want to say nobody would have expected them to lose map number 1 up against LAG, but even when it comes to those sort of scenarios where they are behind, they find themselves in that reverse sweep position, you can absolutely never count them out. So even at this stage, Ultra are still okay. I mean, look, especially towards the Search and Destroy, that's what we say for them in particular. It does look very, very strong, but I don't know, man, that was not convincing.
It wasn't, but it does feel like one of those things that we've seen from Ultra before, right? Not great at the hard point, especially not the first hard point. That map, especially, we were expecting a little bit more. They've been on a very good run with it recently. I just got to say, I think the difference is the fact that obviously Zero was just beaming. And the problem is, you can play maps well, but if you cannot win the gunfights in certain positions where Trey was always, it's not going to work out for you. Benefit being is I think Ultra eventually found their feet, but they were too far behind to make a difference after losing that many hills back to back. Moving on to the S&D, we'll have to see how it goes. Famously somewhere that Ultra have managed to stabilize the ship over and over again. And I know this is weird, but for me, it feels like a new Ravens roster, even though it's the old one. And I don't know if you're feeling the same way, Ted. It's a very weird thing for me right now. With the fact that obviously Gizmo's back, we haven't seen him in a while. There was even a little bit of a downturn towards the end of his tenure with the Ravens before he kind of left. And now it's back. It's been so long.
And, you know, we talk about that downturn, but that could have been one of the reasons that he was moved. Well, not moved off the roster. Of course, we know that he took himself off for personal reasons. There could have been a lot going on. And if that's maybe at the back of his mind now, are we going to get to see the London Royal Ravens that we got to see for the first stage? That team that finished, what I think was 4 wins, of course, across the first regular season. And then, of course, that 3rd placement over in Texas. If they can bring that kind of form towards the end of the season, they become a very, very dangerous team that nobody will want to face. They're the sort that you can play your game perfectly in terms of rotations on hardpoint, you can still lose. They have S&D prowess. They know what they're doing as a squad. If we can see what we saw at the beginning of the season, they are a legitimate problem here, Brycey.
Well, let's find out if all this comes to fruition. At the moment, you can see London just having a little peek over towards B. That's just going to be up top here as well. Gizmo down low. That bomb is about to go down with Nasty, and 4 players still up for the Ravens.
Good spot here for the Ravens now. Where's this retake going to come on through for Ultra? Bance takes his time. It will get traded, but is that going to open the floodgates? Gizmo finds 2 on the outside, and then Zero with the snipe on in sight, and all of a sudden Cammy left, can't even get up the rocket. Is over. Very well played from the London Royal Ravens, 1-0.
Had their position for the trade, and I think Bance was even lucky to get that technical, very, very quick first blood, because there was a player watching over. I think Gizmo maybe just didn't have the quite angle to take him down in time as he was slowly but surely creeping his way over towards Nasty. But yeah, really good setup from the Ravens, and because Ultra didn't challenge, it didn't really allow them an opportunity to get back into it, especially once those trades started flying in. The fact that Gizmo won that second gunfight, by the way, was huge. Yeah, massive. Really well played. Even if he got traded there, it's not a bad scenario for the Ravens, but to find 2, unprecedented if you're on the side of Ultra, who have now just decided to 4-man into Paulehx, so at least 3. Of course, Insight you would expect over towards the back with the sniper out. Zero got the better of him in that last round. Oh, Gizmo with the peek as CleanX just turns his back. Gets away with it, though. Kill's been traded in the middle. All of a sudden, it's a 3v2. Palace control still in favor of Toronto Ultra. Gives them a couple of options. Looks like they're going to take the A option. CleanX throws a very wide shoulder for that one. Unfortunately, nobody's there. They're now going to try and get this bomb down. At the moment, they've only lost Bance. Gizmo, though, going to try and get himself in a good position here as well. He could be the key for the London Royal Ravens.
Oh, does he know Insight's next to him? But, well, I mean, I tell you what, Insight doesn't know he's there. Okay, Zero is going to go down. But Gizmo's not in a terrible spot yet. You would be expecting Insight towards the back. The awareness is great, but Insight will just pull himself away, and now it's a difficult spot.
Insight's a slippery fish. He's not one of the best S&D players in the league to throw a wide chow at that point. And great play out of both players. I've got to say, Gizmo with the awareness to just snap, ready for the chow. Unfortunately, Insight had his own awareness. It was like, yeah, I'm not going that far out for this one, brother. I'm just going to wait for my teammate.
It was doable from Gizmo, though. I think in that situation, if he can find Insight, then find that flag quickly, then it becomes something very, very different. But the fact that he got by as well can sometimes be a little bit more dangerous, can't it? Very well played. Both teams close so far. Of course, a very clean round for Ravens at the start. A little bit better from Ultra in the second. Insight will find the first kill onto Gizmo. Bance gets aggressive. Very well played from Ultra. Should be a round over towards them. Afro now falls as well, and wow, these rounds are not lasting long.
They aren't. It looks like Zero saying, all right, I'm getting out of here. I'm not going to try and get any streaks unlocked on this map. And one of the things we never really talk about is obviously streaks on certain maps don't mean as much on others. Desert Siege is a very good map for a glide bomb, by the way.
Yes, it is wide open.
It is a very, very good map. Much less so Berlin. But those are kind of the difference here. So sometimes, yeah, it is very much beneficial. Just get out of the game. Don't worry about it. Do not give streaks away.
Afro with a 1.3 KD, specifically on this map. And it's not necessarily a player you would expect to necessarily have that kind of KD when it comes up on this map. But getting inside of Paulehx is where he really does find a lot of his good positions, finds a lot of his kills at this moment in time, though. Moved over towards the A site, watching the close push. But Nasty up top, maybe in the position you would expect Afro. Well, Bance doesn't expect Nasty. Skill comes their way. Royal Ravens now looking to try and tie this up.
That first blood is crucial. It takes away so many options from Ultra. And they are just playing very tight at the moment. They are looking for a pick themselves, and Afro's going to get CleanX down to 2 versus 4, down to a 1 versus 4. And it is Insight. But he hasn't managed to get that first kill, and they are now closing him down. Nasty will get that final one of the round. The Ravens get one more on the board, Ton.
Nicely done. I love that hold over towards A. Ravens just not giving an inch to Toronto, especially after that first kill comes on through. It makes it a little bit more difficult for the Toronto side. They can't make the push if Ravens are just ready and waiting. And that's typically more of a London style of play. They really do like the slow A push, 73% win rate when they do go for that. Toronto, not necessarily their bread and butter. They usually like to set up on that neutral attacking round, look for the pick, and then go from there. 2-2 though, of various couple of different situations that these teams have come through, a couple of different strats, but Afro will get aggressive inside of Paulehx. Look how neutral Ravens are here. They're still sat back. They've allowed Afro just to go forward, find the kill, and maybe they're waiting for Ultra to make a mistake and try to pick up on it.
This is going to be a push onto Bance. Has backup. Insight is here as well. You see the Ravens now swinging into action, looking for it as well. Kismet's going to go down. Nasty going to try and get that trade, but he's not going to be in the right position for it. There's a snipe battle going on as well. I'm fairly certain that was Zero versus Insight on the far side of the map, but Cammy's going to get gunned by Afro. 2 versus 3. Bance is going for it as well. He brings it back to a 2 versus 2, just rotating all over the map by himself.
Back and forth he goes. He might find another one here as well. Did he see Zero? He didn't. Well, it's starting to rain on in, and Bance just gets out of that one. Insight goes for the challenge. Afro goes for the bomb. Bomb being planted. Is Bance not going to check this absolutely immediately? Yes, he is. There's Afro. It will be Zero for the ace as well if he goes for the challenge. Insight nowhere near to help him. It's a 1v1.
Well, Zero.
Time.
Going to be looking for this one as well. Insight going to be in position to look for him as well. This comes down to one gun fight, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He gets him before he can even get off that bomb. And that will just be a very slow defuse Insight. Come on.
Fist bumps first. Fist bump first.
He's just only have a conversation before he gets to the bomb. I've got time. I'll have a quick chat with my teammates.
Back in the day, it would be a couple of shot bodies, a couple of teabags here and there before the bombs are being defused, of course.
And that was, funny enough, I'm going to say that was a huge play from Bance. Let's be honest, right? First pick, runs away, managed to get a trade on the other side of the map, rotates back, somehow gets away from Zero out top, and then runs all the way around to get Afro. Obviously, he probably would have stayed in that corner if he could, but he knew Insight was nowhere near, so he was hoping to get the right timing. But yeah, huge play from Bance on that round, bringing Ultra into the lead.
Can they continue it yet? It's another A push coming out from Ultra. London ready and waiting. Insight very, very weak. I'm starting to go down. Afro has just been pressured, as has Gizmo. Cammy knows where they are, and he's just trying to pick them, just trying to put them off. CleanX will find Afro. It's a 4v2. The retake has to come in here for Ravens, and it's such a tough spot. Ultra, I mean, absolutely lights out these last few rounds, and Ravens don't have an answer.
They're putting so much pressure on the back there to Zero, but Nasty's going to get through. He finds one. Zero's been back here forever. About 3 different Ultra players have tried to shoot him as well, but Nasty finds a second one. Zero, not a lot of time left. It's going to be played against him, but Nasty finds a third, and it's now just going to be Bance against Zero, and he finds one. He's not going to get away. Zero gets it eventually. The London Royal Ravens clutch up in unbelievable fashion off the back of Nasty finding 3. How on earth has that happened?
Byron Plumridge, what are we doing here? I don't know how he's found 3. I mean, we didn't get to see any of it, but I mean, the first one's on top Paulehx, and he just kind of finds a peek on a player holding an angle on the bomb. But to find 2 more with 25 seconds remaining, and those are the kind of rounds that can swing games ever so quickly, I was checked out. I was like, oh, yeah, no Ultra round. continuing off where they left it.
They knew where 0 was. Unreal.
2 versus 4 bomb down. You should never lose.
You really shouldn't, especially since you do, let's say one of those players was trying to play around it, but hey, Nasty came to the game. Here's a big hit coming in from the Ravens. They're very, very close at the moment. Eventually backing up, trying to get a little bit of coming through, but there's the Ultra nades.
So good at that. They're so good at that.
They're so annoying at that. CleanX gets the second one as well. Is there another 2v4 for the Ravens? Can they do it? 0 trying to get away, not this time. Kismet left in 1 versus 4, finds the first, looks for inside towards the bag. Inside's not even really chatting it. Eventually, Gizmo runs towards him, and Inside gets the peak. And Ultra go up 4-3, but it could have been much, much better for them, Ton. But hey, sometimes you clutch, sometimes you get clutched against.
Yeah, I mean, look, the caveat you can take if you're a Toronto fan in that situation is at least they are in that position to, well, should be winning rounds. I mean, it's not like you're getting blown out of the water, is it? It's a one of those you should never lose, but at the same time, you are putting yourself in these positions where you should be winning rounds. Every now and then, you do get clutched against. It just happens. Whatever way we string it here, Brycey, there's still 4-3 up. Ravens just about hanging on by hairs on their chinny chins at the moment. Hansen Co gets some sort of control over towards Paulehx. Afro, very, very aggressive over towards the right-hand side, towards the train tracks. He's going to be an interesting position for the London side. Finds first blood.
Yeah, such a great position as well for that first pick. Makes all of mid-map dangerous for anybody on no Ultra. And he's just playing his life now very, very well. Holding an angle, but oh my goodness! Cammy guns, but gets gunned in return. Inside gets the trade as well. 2 versus 2 now between these two teams after a flurry of gunfights. And time ticks slowly, as you can see. A little bit of chess coming in.
My auto does not shoot that straight, by the way. That was insane from Cammy. Inside. No, we nearly find 0 on the pick on the outside. Now 0 stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Has to either decide to stick or twist. Do we get out? Do we risk it? Or do we just hold and make them pay attention to me? Because Nasty is in a good position to do something about it. 0 will find 1. Now it's down to Insight in the 1v2. Not going to happen. Ravens back into a big place from Afro over towards the train side. And then just the 2v2 that they close out. This is such a tight game.
Just coming down to the tiniest of differences. Just obviously, these teams know each other very, very well. The trades are coming in consistently. And I don't know who walks away with the winner, but whoever does could just be the winner of this series. If it's the London Royal Ravens, I'll be up 2-0 against Ultra. I know many fans will be singing their praises. Goes into it again, and CleanX is under an awful lot of trouble. That's pressure, just pushing him down in Paulehx.
Backs away. Just staying alive. Give that up to the Ravens. You'd rather have everybody up, alive and kicking. Just looking for a pick here, London. You can see they're not getting too aggressive over towards that A side. You can see number 5 and number 7. There will be 0 and Gizmo. Not really making too much of a move. Waiting for Ultra maybe to misstep, maybe to look for that control that they did have, do not have anymore. Ravens very aggressive over towards this site now. Still looking for a pick though. Both teams are kind of playing the same game here, Bryce.
Yeah, a bit of a backpedal from Ultra to try and stay alive. They've been hoping for a pick themselves, but Ravens, I think they're trying to get aggressive. They're trying for one now as Cammy goes bouncing past the window. Afro, super weak, will find the gunfight. Stays alive, gets away with it. And he hasn't been found by the Ultra member that went to go and find him as well. And now they're going to go into the bomb site. Bomb going down for the London Royal Ravens.
Oh, CleanX was in a good spot to maybe do something from top Paulehx there. Jumps down though. Not aware where the players are. Well, it doesn't seem to matter. Didn't know Afro was there, but he's gone and we'll see into the next round. 3 versus 3. The bomb is down. Can Ultra find the retake?
I don't think Bance saw his leg. I don't think he saw his leg. He didn't see it. Zero managed to get one, and Bance is still not going to be able to find this player. Eventually, we'll go down to Nasty as well, and Inside's last alive.
Oh my God.
5-4 for the Ravens. It's a mixy game of S&D. Patience from the London Royal Ravens paid out in the end.
Ravens struggled on this map yesterday against LAG. Oh, sorry, not Ravens. Ultra struggled against LAG yesterday. Ravens maybe looked at that one and sort of said, right, okay, let's see what we can do. Insight was nullified by Sprout yesterday, but I don't know, man. Sprout, my words are mixed up. Bryce, just take over.
Yeah, you take a little rest, pal. But at the moment,
I'll take a breather.
Ultra are playing a little bit coy. They are not looking to be aggressive here and give away another first blood. It's been Afro that's kind of nailed home the last few for the Ravens. And they are hoping desperately that the Ravens move. Ultra are trying to find something, trying to open up this map. CleanX looking. C0 there. Well, Sun's going out towards him. Afro moving up once again. This time he's going to be seen as well. And CleanX gets the first blood.
Must have got the call out there from Cammy. The push then starts to come through. Insight's going to find a pick as well. And round number 11 does beckon unless Zero can pull off this 1 versus 4. The first kill will come on through. Insight will fall. Zero's got to try, hasn't he? This is going to be very, very difficult. Ultra already talking about next round, I think.
Oh, he was hoping for that first kill against Cammy. Now they know exactly where he is. Shoulders adorned over and over again. You can see every single member of Ultra back and forth. It's a 5-5.
Here we go, then. Both these teams going toe-to-toe, really, and hasn't necessarily felt like there's been a stronger side in terms of defense or attack, so whatever we get, let's see. Interesting, though, Afro has been consistently aggressive over towards that train side. When he finds that first pick and when he can get through undetected, Ravens look good in the round. But when Toronto have been able to deal with him, Ravens haven't really had a plan. It's going to have to be an attack over towards A, and it seems like Ultra are ready and waiting for it.
Oh, Afro's seen Cammy. Cammy's going to try and chow! There's the first blood. CleanX looking for Nasty. Nasty stays alive. Just about, but that's been traded back to a 3 versus 3. Insight going to be looking for this one again.
Gizmo!
He gets a 2-piece! Somehow Ravens from the first blood have turned this one around. They have the numbers again. And now they just have to execute. Bant's going all the way for the flank.
This is huge. Oh, and just think if CleanX had found that kill and none of that would have happened. Ultra would have been in prime position. But still, Ravens playing a little bit passive, a little bit tentative here. Not sure what to do, haven't got a clue on where Ultra are. Ultra in awkward positions yet. Especially Bant. He's in a crazy spot at the moment. And I don't know if Ravens are going to be ready for him, whichever way this goes.
Well, they probably have no idea where he is. It's probably the calm cylinder Royal Ravens are calling out as well, but Bant's going to find one, but it's not going to work.
Bombs down today.
Nasty goes down. 2 versus 2.
They're still concentrating on the flank, and Bant has actually just re-wrapped back around to his own spawn. You can already see Zero is keeping an eye on it. 30 seconds remaining. It's going to be about the flank from Bant. Cammy's probably going to try and stay alive as long as he possibly can here. Wait for the push, try and find a pick, and work with Bant, who's on the flank, but he has to go fast.
Looking for it, he's going to see Zero as well. He does. He eventually gets it down. Now it's for the pinch as well, but Gizmo wins his gunfight. It's 15 seconds. Bant has to go, and he's going to find Gizmo, but he's not going to be able to get the kill. Gizmo's just going to run. Surely he's not going to put anything out there for as well. And London Royal Ravens, that's all done and dusted. They win the round. Gizmo gets 3, but it's the 2-piece that seals the deal. 2-0 now to the London Royal Ravens.
That's the ace for Gizmo in round number 11. What a way to put yourself back into the scene. A round 11 ace out of Gizmo. My goodness me. What a game. And honestly, Bryce, I was coming into this series and I'm just like, Ultra gonna win. There was no question in my mind. But Ravens, the first 2 maps, yeah, okay, we looked at them. We looked at the videos. We were trying to understand some of the statistics. We knew that the first 2 maps, they were potentials for Ravens. I really didn't expect them to go win both. What a close game that was. 10-7 out of Gizmo. Those first 2 kills were what basically won it. Those last 2, not inconsequential, but just kind of put a bow on it. But if
first from Ultra as well.
If CleanX finds that first kill there, Bryce, that second kill, I should say, which Gizmo then went to be able to trade. Had he went down, but the player survived. Gizmo finds the kill, and then the second. Wild.
Yeah, very, very wild round, and that sometimes can just be Call of Duty time. Little bit of game of inches and missed opportunities. But tell you what's not a missed opportunity. Match 3 is coming up in this already great game. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you right after this.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Mountain Dew and Zenny. Armor your eyes with Blocks gaming glasses starting at $24 by visiting zenny.com/CDL.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. It has been a great series so far. Ton thrills and spills all the way through.
Yeah, it's been interesting and not really the way that everyone was expecting. Of course, Ultra had a bit of a shaky series yesterday, and that's kind of continued. It's another game they would be expecting to win, you would say, based on what we've seen from them at their home major. Well, was it that home crowd advantage that really brought back Cold War era kind of Ultra? Because so far, they really haven't looked up to the pace that we had seen them in. Especially when it comes to Hardpoint and Search and Destroy, which was two of their best modes. Lose around 11, lose map number 1 fairly comfortably as well. I don't know, we're heading into a control that, again, they probably should win, but I thought they probably should have won the last 2 maps. So, who knows? Pricey. London seem to be back.
They do seem to be back. And speaking of back, leads us nicely into our scuff play of the game. It's going to be Gizmo, it's going to be round 11, and it's going to be the ace over and over again. Somehow winning these gunfights. He thought Insight should have had it, just not going to be it. And even the last kill went towards Gizmo as well, Ton.
Yeah, finds the third over towards the bomb site, and then this one is just inconsequential, really. As soon as Bance doesn't kill him there, yeah, and gets away, that's the round. Just has to survive. Easy done. And he's always going to be looking for the kill, irrelevant of how much time is left on the bomb. Fantastic stuff from Gizmo. I think, as I said, the first 2 is what does it. It is really what does it.
Oh, I didn't realize Insight had a very, very poor reaction to the end of that.
Yeah, the kill cam looked a strange one.
Yeah, very, very not happy. Gizmo, that is one of the most interesting camps we've ever seen. He is relaxed. He is laid
chilling.
out.
He's chilling.
That is a meme in and of itself. Hey, what are you doing? You good? You good over here?
His head gutting though, can't it? Oh dear. Anyway, I mean, look, the team do look reinvigorated though. It has to be said. I mean, him finding those kind of picks, those are the kind of plays we've seen from him over and over again at the beginning of the season. He was this guy who wasn't carrying the team, but he was that guy who was finding the moments over and over again. But now we head into a control, which is a bit of an interesting one for me. London are 1-4 on this map, but have not played it with Gizmo in their side. And I just want to point something out as well about the last map, actually, before we went there. With Harry, they were 0-3. With Gizmo, they were 4-0. They're now 5-0 on Desert Siege with Gizmo. They lost all 3 when they didn't have it. They haven't played this map with him. They're 1-4. Who knows? Maybe it's the Gizmo effect, man. I don't know.
It does kind of throw a lot of our stats around a little bit, but we were questioning whether or not this team will be back on form. At the moment, it does seem to be so, but we go into the Berlin control. And London Royal Ravens will want to bury this right here and right now. A big, big push from them to kick things off.
It's going to be an initial B hit coming on through. Never a bad thing to get your teeth into. Give yourself that extra time. Ultra going to go for the peak. Bance does not choose the right way. CleanX, can he find anything here? London just taking their time. Ultra not going to overcommit to this. May just try and find a couple of kills on the exit, but nothing too crazy. Oh, well, actually just completely wiped them out. B now back under control for Ultra. 2 ticks in towards it, though, for the Ravens.
Yeah, it's also what is really interesting on this map, because you've got to be careful, obviously. Put the pressure on, put the squeeze on, make sure you get it. But if you open up Ticket in the wrong way, you can find yourself in the wrong position, and that may be what happens to Ultra. They've got to try and get a little bit of control back. Zero's already going to be in here at the same time. Insight throwing bullets at him. There are a few players through. Band's going to get that nade down, and Cammy comes to try and shut it down. Fortunately, Ultra managed to get back in position. But not fully. They aren't winning all the gunfights they wanted to try and clean this out.
Gizmo's actually found a way into the site as well. Just about staying alive, but he doesn't have any help. The rest of the team now fall as well. It's back to square one for the Ravens. Still plenty of time here. The Ultra do play this so well, so aggressive over towards the train side, and that's why London are over here trying to battle for it. They win a couple of battles there as well. Bansico going to drop back, making sure not to give anything up over towards this A side, but the cavalry will be back. The reinforcements will be there. By the time the Ravens do get some sort of purchase, 20 lives remaining. Peace here. Ravens not in a terrible spot. These next couple of kills are big.
This is dangerous now. Very, very dangerous for Ultra. London are trying to put the squeeze on. You see already Afro just coming through. Gets another kill. Looking for another one. Inside stays alive, but so does him eventually. Bans does find 2 on the flank. Afro left alone on 6 health. Ultra desperately trying to clean out Ticket. Try and push the Ravens back as far as possible. But they are holding on. Nasty gets a kill. Afro gets another one as well. Surely he can't win this one. CleanX comes through with a 2-piece they desperately need. A second to breathe for Ultra.
Yeah, CleanX needed to find those kills there. If he falls, all of a sudden Afro's in the point. The reinforcements are here for the Ravens. This is not being clean from Ultra at all. Ravens have really been inside of it the whole entire time, and all of a sudden it's Cammy left all on his own. Gizmo challenges, Gizmo kills him, and Ravens now inside the point. The pressure's on.
That's done. That is done. There is too many London players here. They are all going to be in this point, and that will go to the London Royal Ravens, because there's just no way Ultra can clean out all these players in time and get there. And even with the kills a little bit towards them at the end, it wasn't going to matter. Too far away, not enough time. London Royal Ravens open up proceedings, and they take that first round of control.
Taking the attack, which is crucial, of course, when it does come down to Berlin. It is not necessarily, well, of course, you would always favor the defense, but attack is very winnable. But Ultra are first in round win percentage when it comes down to Berlin control. Arguably makes them the best team on the game today. Statistically, at least, anyway.
Welcome
Ravens,
to the CDL, where the stats don't matter and they're all made up.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, we do all this research before the game, and usually it doesn't matter.
Well, it looks like Ultra gone for a very similar tactic, almost identical to the way the London Royal Ravens set up here. Get B done and dusted, get a few kills going through. Insert maybe the catalyst, though. You can already probably see Ultra be very, very aggressive towards this one as well, and it's not going to be a snap. Gizmo runs straight into this one as well and wins the gunfight. Inside just gets obliterated.
I think it was Bance, actually. Nasty finds Insight as well. London trying to get this one back. Ultra doing their best just to try and lock this one in, but this will be for 7 for Gizmo. There you go. There's the glide bomb. And what a comeback series this has been for him. 7 and 3. Looking to continue. A Cammy with a good gunfight window, and that should be B over towards the side of Ultra. A little bit of time wasted if you're the London Royal Ravens. You're happy with that. Afro overextending over towards the trains. Be a thorn in the side of Ultra if the push does come from that side, but will force the spawns over towards Docks. It will have to be a fire push for Ultra, and London should be ready and waiting for this.
Well, I'll tell you something. Let's find out how Toronto are doing down in this series with the Toronto Ultra. Listen in.
A slow play for
Long window.
And go top
Nasty's on point. Nasty's on point.
Alright. I try and get like a pick for you. Nothing's pit, Ben.
Wait, you got an 8 cam?
Wait, one's long window on me. Long window, Joey. Joey, we can long. Joey's shouting me long. Joey's shouting me long one shot, and one secret stairs. Like secret stairs.
I'm in secret.
Already on you, Ben.
We can point.
One shot on point.
We can point. He's on the outdoor.
We could wrap left and kill this guy.
Nice.
Wait, yeah, no spawn.
Take a step.
Nice, good shit.
Weak, one shot in office, close office. Pushed out, I think he's pushed out secret, like close.
Secret and long. Some point.
Dead. Nasty on point,
I
yeah.
already wrapped the outer, by the way.
Let's see across the green box. We should be P1 window. I'm weak.
Yeah, we can go
be our
both here.
first,
Yeah. I'll be on the right, boys, yeah.
Outer absolute. Pray.
We're just playing close right now.
Nothing top 3.
We need to try and play for
Door.
secret shit.
Yeah,
One's
P2,
I'm dead, man.
Where? I'll kill him, Ben. Right side when you weak, Joey, pushing on the right, Ben. Dead. I'm cutting secret, Ben.
Yeah,
Come on, me P5.
On the barrel, weak. Nice.
Let's go. Stun the cross. Already cross.
Yeah, I'm one shot. I can't
Done
shot.
the
He's close
Nasty
left,
really
close left,
nice.
Nasty dead.
Big core ready.
Yeah, I'm getting aided. Yeah, in core, Afro.
Try help.
Already close to me, Joey, and Afro stunned their side point.
behind.
In office.
Is he in office?
Office, kill me. Look at Pip.
The office, dead office.
Nice.
One shot.
One more.
Right, pit.
Help him, Pit.
That's done. Hit. And
I can get you pit. My pinch secret though.
yeah,
I'm
that's
standing pit.
one deep.
Ultra comms cool as always. Very, very slow and relaxed, but the pressure is cooking. Only 20 seconds left to get the first couple of kills on this one. Get the third at the same time. Could this be the collapse as well? Only Gizmo left alive. They are going to get him. It's the final seconds for Ultra. From Cool Karma collected to an absolute explosion on the map ton.
And look at the Ravens. They don't have many lives remaining, but irrelevant of that, they need to get going. That second tick's about to come in, but it's such a hard push. You need to find some gunfights from the far back, but it's been all about Cammy as we trade attacking rounds between these two in the first 2. Ultra was slow and steady. They were just trying to pick their way through the map because Ravens were set up quite high. I think it's Cammy who initially finds those 3 kills. One of them looked like a turn on in the middle of the map. I think everybody would have heard the fruitful language from himself after he turned on Afro in mid-map.
I'll be honest with you,
The push comes after that. That was the thing. He finds those kills, which wipes out London in the middle, and then they can push up and start putting that pressure on.
Yeah, I've got to talk about the Ultra comms a little bit more while we kind of get this rolling here in towards B, but just honestly, it just sounds like they're going out to pick up the milk. It's so insane because obviously most comms are just blitz fast to go through, but Ultra obviously have always had that kind of mentality to keep their energy levels reasonable until they need it. And it just makes the comms sound so weird to those who've obviously listened to COD comms for years.
That was a big round for them, right, though? Because, I mean, you're 2-0 down. You lose the first attack under control. It can spiral very, very quickly. If London hold that defense, then all of a sudden they've got a guaranteed other defense to maybe try and close out the series. So the fact that Ultra answer back is very, very important, but what they need to do is actually hold this side as well. Zero perfectly positioned. I love that from him. His team ball pushing that side. He's ready and waiting for the overextension that comes in from Ultra. And now Ravens have purchased over towards Ticket, and immediately Ultra are in trouble.
Oh, the timing. Cammy was pre-aiming backstairs the entire time and eventually just turned. It's up wins a gunfight, and Ultra are going to be here as well. Bans manages to get him at the same time, and Nasty trying to stay alive. Eventually, Bans with a two-piece. Gets him down, only Afro left alive, and he backpedals.
Phenomenal retake. I think it's Bans who finds two. Really well played from Ultra after what was a scary moment.
Yeah,
Zero played that so well.
Yeah, Bans has not been having a good control at the moment here. Fortunately, the slaying on Cammy has kind of made up for it. That's always the trouble with Ultra. Always kind of like one of their players maybe not having the greatest time away and picked up by the rest of them.
Yeah, it hasn't been Bans this year, though. Really hasn't. I mean, he's been stand out. Well, maybe not stand out, but just consistently decent all the way through the air for this squad. 9 and 19 from him is irregular. It has to be said. London now trying to put a bit of pressure on. There you go. Tickets is cleared out. Here comes the push. A minute remaining. A 4-life advantage. They're inside of it. Ultra need a big retake here. That's a big kill from Cammy. Here come the rest of London, but here come the rest of Ultra as well. Oh my goodness me, Gizmo gets spat on and Ultra force it out. It just looked like Ravens had immediate control there, and Ultra say no, they're trading 4 men down back and forth, Bryce.
Yeah, it's kind of the way that Ultra keep playing that as well. They love their grenades. Their grenades always hit before Ultra, but the explosion before the storm, and now this settles down a little bit, but the lives are close. The Ravens still have the opportunity if they can make a big couple of kills. CleanX still going to try and hold down Ticket, but pressure is on him here to try and stall anything that comes from the Ravens.
Seems like they have stalled it successfully. One final push to come out from the London side. Bait and switch starting to come in. Inside goes for the challenge, finds the gunfight as well. Just has to back on down. Bans and Co are there. Bans finds 2 kills, and we talk about him not necessarily having the best of games, but that might be the final couple of kills to close this round out. Gizmo is going to get no further. 6 seconds to go.
Nero's going to sprint towards this window. There's going to be a player waiting for him. Surely he doesn't get in time. He does get in time. Oh, doesn't get away. Does not get away. Why do these rounds always feel so tight?
That's Berlin, mate. It's crazy. I think some people kind of look at it and sort of say, "Oh, it's so back and forth. It's hard to really ascertain who's going to win it." But I absolutely love it. From the word go, every single time I've casted this map, there is at least one stupid round. It's ridiculous what goes on this map. But it's the retake advantage for the Ravens. Of course, they have their defensive hold there now as well. So can Ultra at least get a capture over towards B? You would expect so. That advantage will be gone, and then it ultimately comes down if they can find anything over towards A.
Tight the entire way through. Ultra just trying to get this first to try and stop it down as well, but Nasty and Zero combining. Entire's in tower alone. While nobody is connecting here for the Ravens. They don't need to. They have map control.
Just like point out, Gizmo still has a hold of that glide bomb. We spoke about it earlier in the series operation when it does come down to Berlin. It's not necessarily the best, but never a bad thing to have. So keep an eye on that as we do inevitably continue on through this game. Ultra will try and close this one out within the 4. Progress over towards A though, so if they do get a hold of B, they are staring at a guaranteed defense, but are we even going to get that? Ultra with a good spot here.
Ultra will have the advantage here for just a few seconds. That outside kill is going to come in. No, Bans huge. Manages to pick it up for Cammy. Looking for Afro there on the window, but Afro wins a huge gunfight as well. Bans gets back in to hold this one down. 2 ticks already over towards them. Ultra not ready to give this one up. Afro's still alive. Ultra still got bodies here at the same time. Cammy gets another kill towards the back, but it is going to be the Ravens who hold this. They've given away 2 ticks. CleanX is just ridiculous today.
I mean, literally, he is looking at people and they die. 29 and 18 out of him right now.
I still have no idea who's going to win this. Genuinely so back and forth between these 2 teams. Afro again managing to stall Ultra. side, looking for the play. There was a door, and it gets a little bit of movement against him. Fortunately, reinforcements is there. And B is going to be locked in by Ultra. The lives are all tied up once again, but with one tick, the Ravens cannot afford to blink.
Yeah, Gizmo has to invest this. Has to slow them down, doesn't find anything. It's not very easy to use it when it comes to Berlin. And now Ultra are stacked already. Zero needs to find this kill and does so. Afro gets taken down. Nasty just trying to watch the flank as well, but everybody from Ultra pushing through the front door. London just about holding on so far. That's big.
Just about, yeah. Huge wipe coming through. Still going to be a minute 18 left on the clock here. The issue for Ultra is it's going to be a hard push for them to try and find these kills in sufficient numbers to not only go down in lives, but also to try and make sure they can get a push going before this time runs out. Gizmo's in a great position out to tick it now.
You may have seen it on the side of your screen, but Ultra confirmed defense if we do go to a round number 5, which is looking more likely as time does tick down. The Toronto side. It's a slow push through fire because the fact that it was contested for so long, they have so much time. There might not be many lives, but time is definitely on their side. 40 seconds to formulate some sort of push to get a hold of that one final tick.
Oh, Cammy finds one towards the back. Fortunately, London have got life to spare. Trying to find Zero as well, but Zero is more than equal to it. CleanX finds another one, goes down for the trade. 26 seconds left remaining. This does mean Ultra have to move.
CleanX goes for the pick. Ultra do have to move. Let's see, can they find something through the front door with 15 seconds remaining? They still do have defense when it comes down to round number 5, so they will not be too worried about that. You've got to give it everything, though. You'd rather close it out in 4. CleanX, really the only one who can make a push. Afro gets dealt with. They're inside.
They are inside. They're trying to make the kills as well, and it's just one left. It's just one left. Somehow Ultra, the slow moving is unbelievable. There is an old saying that slow is smooth and smooth is fast, and has that ever applied to a team more than Ultra? They look like they're doing nothing, but always manage to find the kills and click. It is so interesting to see the different styles of these two teams. Ultra like a glacier, inevitable, moving slow, and a firestorm from the London Royal Ravens, but all the way through that control turn, no idea who was going to win it. These teams are going to give me a heart attack.
That's Ravens just seemingly in a good spot, and I mean, you can't afford to lose 3 or 4 gunfights at that scenario. Zero left all on his own, not in a terrible spot, but the rest of your team get gunned inside the site, and that's what happens. What a game out of Cammy, by the way. I mean, every single time we've seen him either on the opposite end of a gunfight or from his POV. A hell of a game out of him at 4,100 damage, 27 untraded kills, and was a big catalyst for the side of Toronto Ultra. And how they got the job done.
It's like, take it back to that comms, right? And this is why I laugh at this team, because obviously incredibly talented the entire way through, but like just no time left, and they just seem incredibly casual about it. Obviously, adrenaline is probably coursing through their veins like fire, but it just seems like they just don't like freeze up. They don't worry about it. They're not sitting there going, oh, we've got to just sprint through. CleanX was a great example on that last push. He was checking the angles over and over again because that time was just ticking over and over. And the pressure in that scenario is unbelievable. And yet he still checked every corner. And when he eventually went for the chow, he picked it right because of the time he took to make sure he figured out where those players were.
I mean, it always helps when Cammy is the unkillable demon king. It was like Faker circa 2013 out there. That was ridiculous. I mean, every single gunfight we've seen, he could not be gunned. Sometimes players just have those kind of maps, and Cammy, well, we haven't seen too much of it up until this past month, really, from him when it comes down to Vanguard. But when he brings this kind of form, Ultra become a bit of a problem for absolutely everybody. And London Royal Ravens, this is not done for them yet. They may well have had a 2-0 lead. That has now been halved as we head into a Berlin, Hardpoint, Tuscan, Search and Destroy. And honestly, I thought to myself, Berlin and Tuscan, for me, when I look at the statistics, they absolutely lean towards the side of Ultra as well. Ravens could have done with a 3-0 there because these next 2 maps do not suit them when it does come down to the statistics.
Tell you something though, the London Royal Ravens have looked very good in this series. Their slaying has been on point. We saw a
100%.
huge map out of Zero map 1. Gizmo, obviously, bit of a highlight reel on map number 2. Cammy on map number 3. Who's going off on map number 4, Ton?
Good question. Honestly, it's going to be difficult. I mean, looking towards London, Zero was fantastic, map number 1. Gizmo has definitely had a fantastic start to his resurgence, if you like, though. And that will be positive for the side of London Royal Ravens. Some takeaways they can find from this were relevant of what happens. They look disappointed with that map, though. Especially winning round number 1 and then 3 back-to-back rounds for Ultra. It's got to sting. It really has to sting. Nasty looks like he's about to burst into tears, to be honest with you.
You know, I'm not going to comment on that. What I am going to talk about is Gizmo and some of the statistics we've kind of seen from him so far. Obviously, we did come into this talking about him being maybe the catalyst for a resurgent Royal Ravens. KD 1.05, 13th currently in the CDL. Some pretty good stats along the way here for this one, of course. And for me, I think a lot of the teams, or a lot of the fans of this team, I should say, are excited to see if he can kind of right this ship.
Yeah, and I mean, as mentioned multiple times, beginning of this season, the guy was an absolute phenom. We expected big things from him coming in, but I don't think we all expected him to look as strong as he did. I've said it before, I really thought that Nasty was going to be that guy for the London Royal Ravens, but it really was Gizmo at the top end of the season. Afro then, of course, sorted a little bit more comfortably into that SMG role as well, and the team as a whole gelled. And it felt like they peaked very, very early. It was kind of annoying to see how well they were doing and then just the fall off a cliff. But ever since, well, Gizmo was back in this just one series, things have been looking pretty good. With a 1.27 for Cammy, another player who's having his own little resurgence. If he can continue that, as said, Ultra become a different beast entirely.
Well, on the other side of it, though, Zero dropping 1.43. Obviously, that incredible play in the very first hard point we saw. And the Ravens were wanting to do it again. We move on to Berlin. And Tan, obviously, statistics, sometimes it means a lot, sometimes it doesn't. But we were chatting quite considerably, saying that we don't know if these last 2 maps really are the best ones for the Ravens. But with Gizmo return, I suppose anything is possible. Yeah, 6-game win streak here for Ultra. But, I mean, it has to be said, when it does come down to the first map, they want a 4-game win streak there, they lose it. So you never know. You never know. The #1 team of Breaking Hills on this map is the London Royal Ravens, going up against a team who have won it 6 times in a row. And it sets it up for a nice game, Pricey, I believe. Does inside though, coming under an awful lot of pressure and somehow wins that gunfight. That pillar saved his life in a huge way forward. And Gizmo now spraying him down as well. 20 seconds left on this one. The Ravens going for one last roll of the dice before they hit this rotation. And it's going to be Ultra who stack it. It's always difficult though. Ultra spawning on the beneficiary side, if you like, for the spawns. They're the first ones who get over towards that P1. It's always the more preferable side when you are trying to defend that. But ultimately, it does mean that the Ravens will have this rotation over towards P2, but a 46-point deficit to deal with as well. Ravens set up, ready and waiting. Can they deal with Ultra, who are pushing on through it? Kills traded. 2 for 2 on both teams. Zero, well, answer back though. Bance, Cammy, both fall. Well played from Zero. Big kills from him, 3 in a row. Yeah, this is already shaping up to be a big hold by the London Royal Ravens. They have map position. CleanX just managed to get out towards Ticket. Nasty, though, in a great position himself towards Fire. Looking for him. Managed to find 2. Already cutting the numbers down of Ultra. Afro will be reinforcing his teammate Zero here in this one, but he doesn't really need to. Gizmo and Zero getting this locked in as well. It was always a hard push for Ultra. And the key now is, do Ultra get their own rotation in? Always a hard push for Ultra, especially up against the London Royal Ravens, the best team when it comes down to P2 on Berlin. Average of plus 13 points on it, and 92% hold rate. And, well, I mean, we got an example of it there. 46 points down by the time we headed over there. And all of a sudden, well, they're going to be about, what, 7 or 8 points in the lead. Fantastic hold over towards P2, but when it does come down to it, Ultra in this spot, P3, so important. One of the biggest money hills on the maps. Shout out Afro for that quote. He's going to have to be one of the guys who try and break this. Is Ultra holding this well so far? CleanX actually diving out towards Fire Tank and eventually finds nobody. Zero finds another one now, and the pressure coming through inside. Somehow still alive, but the pressure mounting again. Eventually, Afro will take him down. And Ravens now can look to lock down the lion's share of this time if they can hold the Ultra push they know is coming. Best Berlin P2 team on the game. Best breaking team on the game when it does come down to Berlin.
They hold on to it as well. London Royal Ravens. And Zero again. What does he have for breakfast this morning? 12-3 on this so far.
Vengeance.
An absolute stupendous game one. Vengeance. What's the record against Bants at the moment?
Oh, that's on. The thing is, it's on land, and I think it's 10-1, or it's close. It's around that number. I have to get the stat book out again, but it is definitely in favor of Zero. But we'll see how this one goes. Obviously, it doesn't go towards that land record, but it's always a great rivalry in the meantime. Right now, though, Ultra have control of Train Hill. Famously a hill that's always a little bit difficult to hold if it gets a bit mixy. You can see the Ravens trying to get in the right position for it.
Doesn't want to maybe overwork this 1-0. Rest of the team are finding some good kills, though. So we can maybe take his time for these streaks. Smash Sun, there we go. So we'll find a couple over towards the back, though, and that will lock things down. The call-out comes, there's Cammy. Now, all of a sudden, 1 kill off a glide, which can be influential when it does come down to hardpoint. It's probably the most beneficial mode to have it in. CleanX is going to be there, though. Zero will get taken down. The end of that streak comes, and Ultra get a really decent hold here, Brycey. Majority of the time going their way, and Ravens just couldn't find a breakthrough.
They can't. Cammy have to backpedal just a little bit for the Chowies. Knows coming eventually. Just reads him like a book. Bans gets another one to Gizmo. Nasty has been seen, but it's going to win the gunfight regardless. And this is where it comes down to a very, very tight game. P5 will not be taken until a team feels comfortable to jump on board. If you are Ultra, getting the time is great, but they want to flip this for P1.
Oh, I mean, you're going to struggle to flip it when the only member left alive momentarily is going to be Insight. Does find 2, though. Good job. Alive and kicking. Being a nuisance. Finds those 2 kills, allows the rest of his team just not to have too much pressure on the water gunfight win. That is from Afro, though. All of a sudden, Ultra going to have to find a way through trains, and Cammy may well be the spearhead to do it. What on earth is that gunfight? We're getting an absolute smoke show today. Nobody's missing a bullet.
This is where it gets very, very interesting. At the moment, the Ravens have done enough. They have held off Ultra getting too many points on the P5. And Bants trying to get the root man, trying to figure out if he can get his team to a good position for P1. We know that can be a money hill over and over again. Now he's going to hit Secret, going to look for Zero, but Zero has figured it out as well. Will be traded out at the same time. CleanX going to go through, but it's going to be Gizmo pushing out towards Ticket. And the Ravens looking to hammer this one home. This is a dangerous position because Gizmo will try and just farm them here at the same time. And Nasty's holding the angle they need at the same. And I will say this, the London Royal Ravens have now bedded themselves in.
Oh, keep an eye on Bants, though. He could be the catalyst for the Ultra side, finding a way through. He finds 1 kill towards the back, and all of a sudden, Ravens, you need to find a couple. Insight will be last one there for Ultra. As Gizmo is there for the Ravens, but Ultra find a way through. They can contest this. This is a win for them. They're not just contesting it, they're finding points. Ravens trying to find a route back in, but once you're inside for the side of Ultra, is it going to be locked down? Nasty finding 2, back and forth we go. It's absolute chaos inside of the point, and it's Cammy who comes out on top. It's Ultra, after not having the rotation, after not having the spawns, who are the beneficiary from P1. As we head back over towards the favor for London, over towards P2, can they hold it as well as they did last time?
Can we have a map that's not incredibly tight at any point during this series?
Oh shut up, we don't want that.
It's just constant because it's looking like the Ravens are going to be in a position to try and take the lead here again as they've moved towards P2. Ultra going to try and collapse onto this. Eventually, you can see they've got players now in the area. CleanX opens up proceedings. There will be Ultra eventually get into it, but they haven't cleared the stairs. They have not cleaned all the Ravens out yet. And eventually that'll be the last player, but Gizmo gets one and Cammy will trade him out. Ultra have an opportunity now to grab this time if they get a setup in.
That'll be a good chunk of a lead as well, heading over towards what will be potentially a money hill for the Ravens if they can keep a hold of these spawns. Ultra. This is crucial time for them, it feels. We'll put them in a decent little spot, but as mentioned, that rotation not in their favor, and neither is the point now, as Ravens will find a way through. 15 seconds remaining, and Ultra may well just overextend through train, but no, they're actually going to fight for the scrap time.
Well, I'm going to say this because they haven't had a lot of opportunity to really get towards P3, and that's what they wanted all of that time, to try to give them a cushion. Look how far away Ultra are now. This map is all Ravens. Ultra basically have to do a bit of a marathon before they even get into a gunfight. Zero's on a 5 street as well. Afro cleaning out fire, looking for the second kill. This is difficult. Ultra don't even know what the inside of P3 looks like this time around.
Yeah, they haven't had a sniff so far, have they? But Zero does get shut down off what was a 5 spree. So that's important for the side of Ultra. Every time we seem to go on board with Zero, it's 4 or 5 kills in a row. Afro just being a nuisance side door fire. You have to keep an eye on it if you're the attacking team, as well as try and formulate some sort of attack to try and break through into the hill, which has been held so far by the London Royal Ravens quite flawlessly. 15 seconds remaining here, and Ultra had a good hold over towards P4 last time. Can they do it again? As I said, it's typically not the hill where you find a lot of the success, but Ultra did so last time around. We'll have to see a repeat if they want to take the lead once more.
Well,
Zero step by.
Will this be the difference? Vance will be able to get into this hill, but they do not know Zero is here, and Zero gets the first kill as well. Gizmo gets another. The Ravens not going to give them the opportunity to try and get all these points back again here, and Cammy looks for Zero, and Zero stays alive. Nasty picks up 2. And they're not even giving the time turn. They don't need to. They just need to keep punishing Ultra, as Nasty is pushing them further and further back.
Now for Ultra, for them, you've lost control of the point, but what you can gain is spawns heading over towards P1. That's why you've seen them wrap around fire. They'll probably want to try and clear our train station. There you go. Spawns over towards fire. So Ultra, any points here is a bonus. Nasty will find 2 though. He's had a hell of a hill over towards this side. Spawns are there though for the side of Ultra when we do start moving back over towards P1, if they can hold it through P5 as well. But Ravens are getting the time. Of course, they have broke 200. But look at Ultra to try and keep a hold of the side of the spawn that they have, but they cannot allow Ravens to get too many points here over towards P5.
No, this is difficult. They have to fight for P5 and then get all the way over towards P1. And they are winning the gunfights. Positioning is great. Kills maybe a little bit better in this scenario. Afro is going to be allowed to slip the net as well as he goes in towards P1. And this is the disaster scenario. Ultra have to push. They have to put the pressure on a P5.
That's big.
Cammy manages to find 2 as well, but Zero is going to be towards Ticket, and he's just trying to gun. It's not going to work, but the spawns have flipped on.
Oh, that's disastrous for the side of Ultra. They were focusing so hard and keeping a hold of them. It was actually leaking time to Ravens, and then Ravens flipped them. And now Ultra needs to try and find some time to put themselves in a better spot, but it's 3 dead. Ravens might do this, Bryce.
They're looking for it. CleanX managed to find 1 as well, but now Ravens have the opportunity to keep jumping. They're just going to keep jumping on this over and over again, knowing they can bleed this time out step by step. And Ultra have to come and chow them. Mantis managed to get on the point. He's going to fly out as well because he knows they have to get through. This isn't even really about P5 anymore. It's flying towards P1, but now they go down. Cammy, can he be the hero that Ultra need? Otherwise, this series is done. There are 3 players in here already. He finds 1. He looks for the second. It's not good enough. The Ravens are not close. That game is done and dusted. And the London Royal Ravens cause an upset. And they take it, and they get the 10 points. And it's already feeling like a different story.
Give me a Joey Gizmo interview right now. The man comes back, and they beat Ultra in the Battle of EU. A 3-1 victory as well. And honestly, if I was to say a route for London to win that series, I felt like it had to be 3-0. The last 2 maps really just didn't favor them. And while we don't even get to see the great
Nero
equalizer
again
of that final search and destroy, but Zero again, as you say, 32-16. We were hearing reports of Ravens sucking in scrims this week.
Well, that was the question. Apparently, they just fell into old ways. The last 2-3 months doesn't really matter. It's all the way back to Major 1 again, but yeah, just doing the business. And they found it when they needed it. Some huge holds, some big plays. And they have a little bit of an upset against Ultra. It does beg the question now, with Ravens grabbing those 10 points, feeling a little bit more secure than they would have been before this game.
Yeah, it puts them in a little bit of a better spot. Has to be said, of course, we will be keeping an eye on their position on the leaderboard. Everybody around that sort of area is still in trouble, even after their fantastic start to the season. Ravens still have to be careful, but what a way to start off stage 4. And honestly, I just felt like Ravens are going to be a team who are lost at sea. Would it have been too much of a quick step up for Gizmo to come back in? I want to say he didn't have a phenomenal series, but some of the moments that win them the game, irrelevant of what happened from Insight's POV when it does come down to that second kill in that final round, Gizmo still played it well, finding the ace to solidify it. I said the stats might not back up what was inevitably a decent performance from him, but those moments are what make the difference. And how many times can you count on your hand that he would find 2 pieces that you just wouldn't expect, especially in the first 2 maps, Bryce? I mean, for me, a really good performance from him, but I mean, Zero could not be stopped today either. Nasty had a great map number 4 as well. Ravens will be very much reinvigorated after that one. It's a big win for them. Will give them tremendous confidence heading into the rest of the Stage 4 qualifiers, but that is a very, very big win.
Yeah, that is huge for them, and it does mean maybe a reevaluation of how we look at the London Royal Ravens moving forward, and potentially also how we look at Ultra. But it's good news for the London Royal Ravens and their fans. Gizmo has returned, the rust has been shaken free, and potentially a bit of a change in the CDL. I've got to say this, with how tight the bubble is, one of the things you don't want to see is any of the other teams, another team you thought were done and dusted, coming back to life. It's horrible because you know you've got to win all the more games now to try and solidify that spot.
Yeah, one thing I'm absolutely furious about this, though, is Chance. Chance is right. We were speaking about this in the green room before. He's like, there can only be one good EU team at any time. He's so toxic. Honestly, I hate it when he's right as well, which is quite often every single time, unfortunately.
It doesn't. And obviously Chance hates Bant, so it doesn't matter anyway. We're going to hand this one over for analysis to our desk.
Thank you so much, Bryce and Ten. And by the way, Bryce made a really big point, right? When we talk about the bubble and the points and the race to go to champs, you really can't sleep on anybody because I'm going to say it right now, nobody out there probably expected London to pop off the way that they did and have the wins that they did, but shout out to them. And by the way, Nameless, that guy, Zero, took over in hardpoint. Nothing was stopping him.
Man, they look so much better in this series. I mean, early on in that first hardpoint, they were breaking a lot of hills. We saw that big break on P3 where Zero was mid-stairs. He got 4 kills to get them that position. They get all that time there, and they just have a good map throughout the rest. The P5 setup that we saw at the very end, it was clinical. They were pushing out each lane. They spawned them out to church, slayed them out once again. I mean, this is a London team that was in shambles. Gizmo comes back, and it's like plug and play. They're back to where they were at stage 1, at least in this series. And then on that game 4, another perfect hard point. Like we saw Zero on that last rotation go all the way around back trains after they just held P3. Toronto lets him get through. Like these are things Toronto was picking up on versus other teams, but London, man, just masterclass today.
It was big time. Before we jump into the interview, Ali, anything you want to say? I mean, it feels good. It's like a throwback to London now, right?
It felt nice because like I was sitting in the green room and I was like, you know, if this is the London that we're going to continue to get, they're, you know, back to being like a top 6, top 4 conversation team. So hopefully that consistency stays there because each player did what we expect out of them and they all did it at the same time and it worked out. It was Zero absolutely frying. It was Nasty popping off an S&D. It was Afro early on rotation, just playing in a corner, getting that free pick to, you know, get in their enemy's head, being like, all right, well, now we have to search for this player, which allowed players like Nasty and Zero to capitalize on that. So I'm hoping to see this moving forward from the London Royal Ravens.
Right, and let's talk to somebody to see if he can tell us if they're going to continue to dominate this way. It's going to be Gizmo for the Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. Gizmo, yo, Burberry Gizmo, what's up, man? It's good to see you again, first off. Second, how good does it feel to just be back and winning like this?
Oh, bro, I've missed it. Obviously, I had to go home for like mental family and stuff, but I'm back. Glad to help the boys, innit? And give a fucking swagger to the team, mate. That's what they've been missing. Right? Harry's an unreal player. It just didn't click. It's too many R's. But I'm back, fast, just running first, fucking dying with an AR. Oh, my bad. And yeah, I'm glad to be back with the boys, man.
You're fine. You're back. We just missed you.
I'm sure we go 20. You're going to see, you know, you did bring the swagger back and head glitching the camp for most of the series. But I do have to ask this. What was it like for you as a player to kind of have that time off to go play in challengers for a bit as well? What did you learn to bring forth coming back into the league?
Well, I learned in challenges, but I played with Vortex and I had Josh as my coach, who are just like brainiacs. So like, although it's not the same like type of level, you still learn stuff. It also helped as well because beforehand, like my playstyle is very unique to the league. I'm just an AR who just runs. Like I'm an actual flex. I'm not a second AR, and I was just running. So playing with them, I transitioned to more of like just a second AR, a bit slower, but also being fast. But so in S&D, it's helped. I'm just more like running down mid all the time. I'm lining up in spots and just like being a cool head a bit in S&D. So yeah, I've learned quite a bit, and yeah, I'm glad to bring it to the boys, man.
Gizmo, yeah, definitely run down mid works. That couple kills you got in the very last round of Search and Destroy in middle were absolutely spectacular. Congratulations on the win. But I want to ask you, like, Zero had a crazy performance across both hardpoints. I mean, like, the guy was popping off. What is it about you being on this team that elevates him to that next level?
I mean, Trey's unreal, bro. Like, he has like that swag about him. He just needs someone to bait, and I'm the bait. As much as I don't want to be, I am. So yeah, I'll go first. Trey can get the 4 pieces and whatnot, but yeah, we're happy. We get the dub. I don't mind it. But yeah, He's unreal, bro. Our whole team's unreal. We're fucking back, boy.
Love it.
You're back,
love
boy.
it.
The swag is back. Gizmo, show some love to some friends, family, and even the London supporters out there. And then
I mean,
we'll let you go.
Yeah, shout out to the owners for letting me go back. Shout out to Dom, like Kev, a coaching staff, and my family back home. Love you all, miss you, and I'll see you soon. And yeah, to the London fans, we're back. Believe that.
We're back, believe that. Gizmo, you take it easy, fam. I'll holler at you later, all right?
All right, in a bit.
I love it. Yo, Ali, isn't it nice to see Gizmo back just feeling loose, right? That's exactly what London needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the words of him, it would be the swagger, right? Like, I'm not the person to say that. I should have let Ant pull that one out. But, like, Gizmo, obviously, he brings the vibes, right? And it's good to hear, you know, that they think that they're back, they have their confidence. Because, obviously, you know, there were some wishy-washy rumors. Like, we can't act like that wasn't happening. We were like, well, no, we don't really know what's going to happen. Well, now we see what they're capable of.
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the first series of the day. And you heard it right there from Gizmo. Baby, the swagger's back. And as one EU team hops over another, it's going to be the London Royal Ravens that comes out on top. But for this next series, it's going to be very interesting. We're going to see if LAG can show us a little bit of what we saw yesterday against NYSL. We'll catch you on the other side and see you soon.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Game Fuel. Victory in a can. And upgrade your game with a Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Looking for more, my people, they got a soar. I'm putting that on the Lord. Ain't accepting, ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids, just kids. That's wealth, years and years. Promise my brother, soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, jobs that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the ground and the cards is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live.
Beautiful people, how you feeling today? Welcome back to the Call of Duty League. My name is Velly. We got Ali and also Nameless, and today has been a pretty fun one so far. We just saw the London Royal Ravens pick up a big win against the European brothers, right? The team from Toronto, the Ultra, and it was a pretty big win. But for this one right here, I have a feeling, okay, hear me out. I have a feeling that this one might be something that people don't expect with LAG versus the New York Subliners. But let's get down to it, right? Because when it comes to NYSL, they don't have any time to slack at all. The Nameless, looking at the points, they're sitting at 80, 11th place, but this being the final stage possible to get points for them. What do you expect?
I mean, if you're New York, this is a must-win. You look at these points, and LAG have 125. You're hoping one of these teams falls out of the top 8 and you can climb your way back up. You just saw the Royal Ravens get a win. That's one of the teams that you're looking at like, I hope they fall out. So for New York, it's just winning out and getting top 8.
Right, and when it comes to the NYSL in this specific matchup, I mean, and this team, they're looking good, man. The first map that they had against the Florida Mutineers was a close hard point.
Yes.
The NY, they picked up, and they were able to get the good win, and they looked confident at the end of it.
Yeah, they bounced back in that Desert Siege Search and Destroy. They looked fantastic on that map. Everybody played great. It was a team effort, and, they have that again in this series. Going into this match versus an LAG team that has just made 2 big roster changes. For New York, they are a high-pressure team. They're great at respawn. They play aggressive, so if you can get Kismet and Hydra going, you get one of those big games out of Paul, like you can fluster the players that are on LAG. So for New York Subliners in the game field keys to victory, Ali, what are they going to have to do to win this series?
Well, it's a lot of pressure on Hydra, right? He has been a positive in 17 of the last 19 series.
Wow.
You know what you're going to get out of him, right? He's the aggressive SMG on this squad and take the swing game in brilliant control. Obviously, LAG have been struggling in control this season. They are 0-4, so basically a guaranteed map win right off the bat.
In NYSL, for 2 games in a row, they go against 2 teams that had team changes, so they really don't know what to expect just yet, and I don't think they can really bank off of what they know from scrim reports, right? So when it comes to LAG, I will say this. We've always said how we feel, we said it with our chest about this roster, but I got to give it to them. Yesterday, LAG looked nice. They weren't able to get the win against Toronto Ultra, Ali, but I have to give it to them. I really liked a few things I saw from them.
Seriously, no, this squad on paper for me, I was a little wishy-washy about, but after seeing them in game, I was very pleasantly surprised, specifically on the backs of Neptune and Spark, the new additions to this roster. They actually fell into the mold incredibly well. Austin was doing incredible things on the map, and even Hook, we saw new lights out of them. Unfortunately, they weren't able to close the series out against the Toronto Ultra, but they are heading into a Gavutu hardpoint once again that they won 250 to 174, very dominant fashion, so they need to take that map early in this series and hopefully ride the momentum from there.
But the question is, did LAG learn from past lessons and that close loss that they had last time they were on screen at all? We'll find out soon. But when it comes to the game field keys to victory, Nameless, lay it on me, man.
Got to make your kills matter. All 4 players are positive yesterday in 3-2 loss to Ultra, and really that game 4, they outslayed by about 10 kills and still lost the game. Just a couple sloppy rotations there on the side of LAG. And also locking down hills is a must on Gavutu. 67% hold rate, ranks 11th this season across all teams. So like for them on Gavutu, when they rotate and they set up, they got to hold, man. We saw what New York's capable of doing there. So LAG just do it once again, like they looked like yesterday.
Right, and yesterday LAG started off really hot with a 2-0 lead over Toronto Ultra, but then a reverse sweep came in and they got that loss. But we're going to look at maps and modes in just a second. I know Ali loves this segment right here, but I'm looking at it, and LAG, they're struggling in control, to say, kindly, right? But when it comes to the maps, I want to hear your thoughts, Sally. I want to see who won this.
Well, they got the first 2 maps that they got in the dub against Toronto Ultra yesterday. Excuse me, not the dub, but they went up 2-0, right? So they went 6-4 in the Desert Siege and 250-174 in the Gavutu. So they're setting themselves up early in the series, and obviously that Berlin control is going to be a rough one because they lost at 3-1 yesterday, and they're 0-4 this season overall. And that's where New York Subliners are going to be looking to capitalize because their respawn has been absolutely lights out across the board. Now, the only hope now for LAG is that Crim has a rough map 1, and they capitalize on that momentum early because that's been kind of the woes. He starts a little slow, but by the end of the game 5, he is frying. So try to shut that down early.
I love that. Nameless, man. Any last thoughts before we get into pick'ems?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing here is the control, like we were just talking about. On that Berlin, I mean, New York's only 1-0 on that map, so they don't have a ton of reps there in official matches. So for LAG, if they can come out and take that and sort of